All right, guys, next kind of damage, we're going to talk about a bit of flooding action. Now, I'm not talking about your whole house is floating down the street kind of flood. I'm talking about situations where, let's say you have a basement with a finished drywall and you get a sewer backup or heavy rain and the system's overwhelmed in the city, and so it all kind of works its way back into your home. Those are never pleasant, but they do happen. And so for argument's sake, we're going to go with about a 6 inches of water line in your home. Okay? The water that gets into here, in a lot of cases, is not going to be rainwater. It's going to be mixed with sewage. But the idea is that when sewer water gets backed up from the rain, it mixes. And so it's got bacteria in it. And so all these baseboards get removed and thrown in the garbage. Okay? Same with your door casings. Same with your door jambs. And should be same with your doors. Now, if you had water damage that didn't touch the bottom of the door, you'll know, because if it did, it'll have a watermark stain on it, okay? Easiest way to tell. But for our purpose, we're gonna assume we're dealing with about 6 or 7 inches of water. Now, generally what happens, system can be overwhelmed for like an hour or two, and then the water goes right back down the drain that was overwhelmed once it catches up, okay? Wet drywall can dry out, but the bacteria issue is what I'm talking about. So now that it's proliferated, and inside that wall cavity, behind it, is now soaking wet, the bacteria has an environment to grow, and it's gonna get stinky, and it's most likely gonna go to mold as well. So what we do is we do this. It's called it's basically the wet test. So you just take your screwdriver and you go, and it should pop through really, really easy, okay? Like your 10-year-old should be able to grab a screwdriver and punch through a wet wall. And you go like this, and you go, nope, a little more solid here. And what happens is, for a couple of hours, the water's sitting here, but it's soaking up, okay? And so the water, this would be like 90% moisture at this point, and it'll go to 80, it'll go 70 to 60, and then it'll get to, you'll have a water stain on your drywall. But even above the stain, the moisture content is still too high to save. So you punch away until you go, until it's given some resistance. Now you've got nice dry drywall, okay? So that's what you want to save. Now, we know 48 inches, the full sheet is way up here. So we're gonna go down to where that drywall was nice and tough. And you're just gonna set that tip in, and you're gonna pull it. Around the height of your doorknob is a really good guide. You're gonna pull it twice. And you let every stud as you go across. Okay? But now you're clean through. So now you can take your hammer. There's a hole. And we're just going to bounce and vibrate until the drywall pops off the screws. Okay, you see that? Here we go. And it's a lot easier when it's wet, trust me. Now, there you go. Now that drywall goes in the garbage. The only thing left for you to do is to remove all the screws. But the point of this is you want to get that wet material out of here so that it can dry. If you call your insurance company, they're going to come over, they're going to come in here, they're going to cut all that out for you. If you have coverage, that's great. They'll do the removal, they're going to treat the wood, it's okay, so that it kills all that bacteria. But you've got an option. You can do it yourself just with a solution of bleach and water. You can get a little spray jug and you can spray down your wood. You're going to want to go about 3-4 days before you rebuild, okay? I just give it a week. Make sure the basement smells good. If it smells stinky, then you still have bacteria that needs to be treated, because it'll grow over time. So the tools for repairing your drywall are simple. Grab a square. As a homeowner, it's your best friend, okay? You can use a tape measure, or you can eyeball. Come down here, pull out your knife a little bit, and score the paper. So before you go and install your sheet, you can always just grab this here, give it a yank, find out where the tape joint is. Now we can see it here. You can see it developing. There's my tape joint. Okay? There we go. It's that easy. Now you can pull this, and hopefully it brings the tape with it as well. Yep, there we go. All right, now we have to get rid of all the screws. Good news is drywall screws have really low shear strength. You're gonna hit them off with a hammer. Or you can take the time to pull them out with a drill. Don't save them. Get a new box. They will go rusty if they're exposed to too much water. And then a rusty screw will actually translate that stain through your mudwork. Now, depending on your situation, results are going to vary here, okay? Not everybody has a 4-foot sheet perfect from the floor to replace. Sometimes what you want to do is you just take a tape measure, measure 4.5 feet, 4 feet and a half inch, because it's okay to have a gap at the bottom. 2 lengths, grab a chalk line, snap that line together, and cut on that line. And don't worry about where the natural joint is, okay? Come back with a full sheet. Now that we know this is going to fit, let's get this out of the way a little bit here. I want you to mark your studs by throwing a new screw on every stud. This drywall probably doesn't need to be reattached, but maybe it does because of all this activity. Okay, and most people put the first drywall screw within the first inch. So you go to 2 inches, you're almost guaranteed not to hit anything. Next step, grab your marker, okay? And you want to mark on your floor, probably concrete, because most floods are in basements. Or if you had a water event from a bad shower leak and you're doing the same kind of replacement, just right on the subfloor. At this point, you're going to have moved the flooring out of the way. If you have carpet or something like that and you're upstairs, just put a couple rows of tape down and then mark your stud locations. Okay, this is going to be really key for you because now when you go back to install your drywall, you can identify where the studs are on the top and the bottom by those little black marks and by those little screws. Beautiful. Now, we got our pedal underneath the drywall. There we go. And we just put a little bit of weight on it and we lift the drywall to close the gap. Go straight underneath the other screws. 2 screws, set the right depth. We'll carry the whole sheet. All right, this is the 1/2 inch drywall. It's ultra light. Here we are. All right. Now, the easiest way for a homeowner to do this is to buy pre-mixed all-purpose compound. If you're restoring from a flood, it's a major event. You're gonna have a bunch of taping to do. You don't have to worry about the quick set compound, okay? You aren't gonna be in that much of a hurry. Unless you're really handy and you wanna get 2 coats in your entire basement in the same day. That's a lot to ask for most folk, okay? So you just take it out of here for paper coat and you just gotta work the mud up a little bit. Softens it up, okay? Now, we're just gonna fill like this. And you're gonna see that it comes off the roll with a dimple line in it. It's like a crease line, and it self-creases to do inside and outside corners. You want that crease to be towards the back. If you lost track of where your joint is, you can use your knife and just go. It'll click when it finds the middle. You can set it, run it all the way over here, adjust it until it's perfect. There we go. Now, the best way to do this is hold one end of the tape and then flatten it out. All right? Add a little bit of pressure. Take off the excess. And myself, I like to apply moisture to the face of that tape, okay? And then you just come back with your big trowel and you fill that gap. Now that's your first coat. And when it comes to the screws, you want to just use the side of your knife, okay? The bottom gets covered in the baseboard. These ones are going to get covered in the casing. You don't have to fill those. It's just the other ones, okay? And you run that off the side of your knife. And if you use regular mud, you got to do 3 coats. That's fine, you're here anyway. And if you use hot mud, remember the hot mud doesn't shrink. So if you use the hot mud, you'll be able to get away with just the first coat of hot mud and then one coat of finish, okay? We're just gonna be doing a nice fill coat, finish coat for this joint. You hold the knife on the edge so you're holding the mud and pushing it up as you go across. Okay, here we go. Nice and simple. Again, snow plow down. A little bit of pressure on the top edge until that's feathered in nice. And then we'll go this way, feather towards the middle. There we go. All right, that's done.